Haejo is orphan, have only 3 months left to live. Jamie have premature menopause, but lied to her in-laws that she is pregnant. Today she is getting married. Haejo comes to kidnap her. Jamie gets mad at him for showing up here. Haejo says he just wants her for a month, then she can go back. Haejo wants to have fun with her. She slaps him. He threatens her that he will tell her in-laws about her fake pregnancy. Her fiancé comes there and Haejo introduces himself as her older brother from same orphanage. She somehow sent him out, but he throws her over his shoulder and walk out. She hit her head and faints. She bumps, so he holds her head up while driving. He sits and figures out stuff as he is going to find his real father. She wakes up and leave. He follows her on car. She marathon on road. She gives him a. He walks behind her and then run after her as he goes inside fields, and he hardly follows her. Cussing, he got her. She beats him, cussing and crying for ruining her life. He just stand there. She cries, hugging him. He pat her back, calming her. They wash up. She lost her shoes, but he got it for her, returning it. She asks a lot of questions, and he answer all of it. She asks for his jacket, and he gives it to her. She takes his phone, but it's locked. He mockingly tells her the code, but she can't call anyone now. What will she tell them? Jamie asks him to pull over for bathroom break. He wait outside, and she tries to sneak out from inside. He holds her feet, helping her down, then carry her in the car. She whines. He laugh at her stunt. They stops at a clothing store and she runs around asking for help, but there is no one around. He just calmly asks her to come to him. She huffs inside. She asks for a phone from this lady and goes inside fitting room. He let her be. Jamie can't seem to remember the number, though she somehow texts her fiancé. She comes out and he watches her. He took the phone out for her and she glare at him. He smiles. He goes for a smoke and she begs from heaven. Her fiancé see the text. He asks her to cooperate. She refuses, but he says this will shorten her trip. She quickly go, then he chuckles at her cuteness inside. She doesn't let him eat and spits some nonsense. He kicks her and she return it fully. He leans toward her, teasing her, but she pushes him back. He sleeps after giving a warning. She tries to sneak out but stops, watching him struggling in his sleep. She hold his hand, waking him up. He switch position and hold her wrist. She tries to go, but he stops her from moving and leans near her. She close her eyes. He ties her up. She struggles around, but he just laugh and click a picture. She somehow break it, but fell in his feet. He again laugh at her. They again bickers and blame each other for past failed relationship they had. That guy is not his dad, so they are going to leave. She asks if you are sick, scaring him. Haejo see her fiancé and pick her up. She struggles and shouts. H takes her toward the car her fiancé tries to reach, but not today. They leave with his hand holding her, but he follows them in a stolen car. She chokes him to stop the car, but he doesn't. Haejo use Jamie as a shield as her fiancé have a weapon, but he ends up shooting himself. She beats him for causing trouble with rage, but he feels sick and faints. She thinks he is joking. He wakes up alone in a scarred field, thinking she left, then saw her sitting far. He smiles and goes there. She wants to go, but he doesn't let her go. She says, just kill me. She cries and screams and asks him to die. He says, I will die and you will live happily, but until then she can't leave him. You are mine. She cries. He promised her to die. She smiles and he finds her cute. Then she pushes him in the lake. She runs and he laughs like a maniac. She calls her fiancé to apologize. She cries, but he comes. She cries her heart out. Haejo pat her back to console her. She eat food and he smiles. He gives her his jacket. He scare her. She hit him. She watches a baby and smiles sadly. Of course he notice it too. He feels awfully sick in the bathroom and takes pills. She later saw it too. She asks him why he passed out, but he just say this, and that they get new clothes. He asks her number, but she changed it to be she put on makeup. She bargain over some shoes. He saw her and then gets them for her. She jumps around wearing them and he admires her from behind. They reaches on a mountain. She directly tells that they are looking for his dad. Here he walk and she hides behind Haejo. She feed him and clean his lips and lick it, then get awkward. She laugh hysterically and he just stares at her. Then he tells her to just cry. She stops laughing and he had tears. She cries her heart out and he hugs her, patting her gently, but later he start feeling pain but hides it. She asks him to sing her a song. He sing for her lying down. She tries to run away but fell down and gaze the sky. She comes back and lay down again, but they both fight like dogs and get mad. He cussed. He puts ointment on her scars when she is sleeping. He smiles at her. These thugs are looking for Haejo. She gets caught but runs away quickly. She wakes him up, slapping him, but this dad took his money. They run away. Haejo beats him up. Jamie hug him to stop him. They both cries their heart. She got some of his cash, but now he wants to send him away. He throws some mean words at her. She yells and cries at him, saying she is not leaving. He kisses her, stopping her mouth. Her fiancé saw that. They run on a boat, leaving her fiancé back. She did not want it. That she tells him about her menopause, but he doesn't care about that, shocking her. They both fight like dogs again with each other, and her fiancé just watch them. She gives her fiancé one and Haejo asks for it, but she just smack him. They both laugh like maniac. He feels left out. Haejo passes out again. He stay with him and treat him. Haejo tells him that he only have 3 months. He tries to take Jamie with him, but she refuses to go with him. This thug gets him and beats him like hell. Jamie hit him from behind, but she ends up getting stabbed. Haejo blames himself for this. He holds her in his arms and cries, feeling helpless. They reaches the hospital and she gets treated there. Haejo doesn't leave his bed for days, hugging her shoes. She officially ends things with him here. She put on her shoes back. She goes to him but misunderstood the situation. She marched toward him and bits his nose. She beat or bite the hell out of him. He sends her away, but she comes back. He gives poisonous words to her. When she doesn't back out, he says they both are unlucky for each other. He made her wear her shoe and leave. She just stand there. He goes home and hugs her. He cries in pain. She stands there in rain. He looks for her, running around. He finally finds her. She looks at her. He sits crying. She holds him and he too kisses her lovingly. She too kiss him back. They make their self-comfortable. They lay there. She finds their old rings. He makes her wear it and wear his too. He stares at her sleeping. She happily sent him off. He fails to operate his hand and feels partial paralyzed. He cries seeing signs. He gets mad at her landlady for taking Jamie with her. His head hurt again, but Jamie doesn't listen and goes to get his next bad DNA sample, but he was wearing a wig. She comes back and Heijo collapsed. She cries and run to him. She hugs him in hospital. The doctor tells them his sickness. She feels numb. Heijo goes in cardiac arrest. She goes to lengths to get his DNA. The doctor gives him CPR. She comes back and again hugs him, telling him about her day, and imagine him waking up and hugging her back. The guy is not his dad either. She sneak out with him on her back. They even fall, but she doesn't give up. She takes him out and cries hard on road. He wakes up and she gets really happy. She peck him all over happily. They walk together and talk about stuff. They goes to find his next father. They eat and play together on the way. He teaches her driving and get mad at each other. He takes her for shopping and they get a makeover. He click her picture and gets lost in her beauty. They get some pictures together. They sit in each other's arms and gaze at stars. They kisses with love and love. They reaches and he send her first. He stay back. This time it's her real mother. She gets surprised recognizing her. He abandoned her there. She run after her. She cries and cuss at him. He cries his heart out. She cries and yell at her mother for abandoning her and tell her friends about it. Heijo reaches there and she attacks at him, stopping him. She drag him for a talk. He gets ready for a slap, but she hug him instead. She thanked him for coming back healthy. He hugs her now first. She throws a tantrum, then she confess her love. He smiles at her. He surrender and carry her over his shoulder and run around celebrating. He watches all his beloved happily playing around together and drinking. His head hurt and he goes around in pain. Jamie gets him and asks where he wants to go. She goes to get car keys, but he leaves first. Sadly, she runs after he finds his dad who raised him without being his birth dad. He goes to his room and Jamie reaches there. She peck him and he peck her. They happily leave for a trip again. They eat together happily. He celebrate her first real birthday. They eat and sleep in the car. They play around in the snow happily. I could never. He found the lucky 4-petal leaf, but he gets a nosebleed and faints. Jamie comes running to him. He wants to live now. She hugs him and he holds her face. He smiles at her and she cries. They leave again.